I'm gonna do it. Maybe I can run home late, log on and record myself.
Yeah, formal introductions.
All right, it's 5 o'clock, let's open the meeting.
5 o'clock somewhere.
5 o'clock here. All right, so, why don't we sign first?
Audrey is scheduled for 5 o'clock. If you want to, I'm not in a hurry, so if you wanna do that
No,
first.
come on up, please, and sit. So, have you two met?
We have not.
I met you. Audrey.
Definitely.
Hi, Beth.
Nice to
Meet
meet you.
So Audrey is our applicant for the use professional position.
Yes.
So why don't you take a minute and tell us about Audrey?
Okay, are you timing me? All right.
Yes, actually, we are.
Yeah, so I thought I met with one selectman also, but maybe I did not. I met with Lois, I met with Ken and Mandy before.
Yep,
I've been the zoning board clerk in Samberton for I don't know how long, but I've been working for all the boards as their secretary and clerk for almost 10 years. And my husband and I just sold our business and I'm looking to do something a little more office oriented. Being a business owner is, I just wanna go somewhere and I do what I have to do and then I go home at night, that'd be great. And have my weekends back. But I'm very passionate about land use and I think that there's a lot of people that say, you know, we can't tell people what they can do with their property, and I say, yes, you can, and you should, because if not, you end up with a Tilton instead of a Canterbury. So, I think it's important that you have someone to go through ordinances and help people with applications, and someone that really understands. Because a lot of times people are never, ever going to, apply for variances or for building permits in their lifetime, and so sometimes reading those ordinances are, they don't make it easy to do.
Yeah.
I know Samberton's like the back of my hand, but I'm looking forward to knowing yours also.
yeah, Canterbury's a nice town, so.
How many different boards did you say that you're currently in?
7.
And,
I cut out 2 last year. I had to get rid of 2. I'm down to 5, but.
okay, so you've got 5, and then with all of those, you would also have time to, are those mostly?
No, I might get rid of some more of them, depends on who I don't like more. I got rid of planning board and conservation. I still do zoning is really the main one. I do the selectmen minutes. CIP and budget really only meet towards the end of the year during the budget process. And I'm forgetting one, master plan committee. I think they're just gonna have to actually cut that entirely and hire a professional to do it, which I think you guys are in the process of doing.
We're almost done, we're home stretch with our master plan, actually. So, and we did use services.
Yeah.
So,
I think they're gonna
Yeah.
have to do
yeah,
that. It's a lot of work.
yeah, it really is.
Well, it sounds like, and if you say you've been doing this since you don't know when, that means it's more than like 2 years.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
It
yeah.
sounds like a long time,
Yes,
so
yeah.
experience wise, that sounds great. Would you be interested at all, because I know in a small town, of course, there's frequently times when people can't fulfill their commitment as a secretary for another board.
Mhm.
Would you be willing to take on that once in a while if the opportunity arose?
Yep, and I had mentioned that to Ken also, that I know that there were some
Good.
people that were hoping to maybe be able to take a vacation once in a while.
Exactly, yep,
So I get it, yeah.
yeah,
Or, I know that if there's new ordinances being, presented or something, that those would also require meetings, and that's absolutely fine.
Okay, good. And I think that's it. I think work, being able to work for other boards, and then what kind of hours are we talking about now?
if I remember, the position was 20
20 week,
a week, yeah, I mean, with a little variable, I think.
And those 20 hours would be in the Sam Lake House, so you'd be available at those
Yeah,
times.
well,
Okay.
or here. When there's meetings.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So would the 20 hours include with the meetings go over the 20?
No, the 20 hours would include me,
Okay,
because she's working, so, or she would be working.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
That, if you've checked with Ken and with Lois, have you talked with Lisa Carlson at all, or did you just see Lois?
oh, I wish I could remember names. It was another, who's currently doing the variance applications for zoning board.
That's Lisa.
That's Lisa, yes,
Yeah,
Lisa.
okay.
Yep,
So if you've talked with all, those are the major players, so I would say.
Yep.
That you've got all the information that you need about.
yes.
Okay.
Further questions?
No, except Kent would probably like to meet Audrey.
I met
Oh,
Kent,
nice.
No
yes.
worries. This is on.
Kent is the other one I met.
Oh, okay, so you guys, that makes it easy. So Ken, we've been speaking with Audrey, and, I understand you've met with her, Ken has met with her, I believe the secretaries of planning and zoning. So,
Yes.
any further questions from you?
I think she's perfect.
If one more person tells me that today.
Well,
Gee, that's a tough day, isn't it?
Yeah,
you
and
changed your
it's
hair
Monday,
the last time I
yes.
saw you?
and it's Monday.
I don't know, it was a rainy day though, so I probably didn't try to do much to it, Kent.
Okay. I'm fine if you've checked in with all those people, if this is your background, and I know people in Sandton that I can talk to. So
All right, great.
I'm good.
Great.
Ken, I assume you're okay if we offer Audrey the position?
Yes, I mean.
Okay. So consider
Okay.
this an offer.
Great.
Ken is on vacation this week, but
Okay.
please contact him and
Yes.
sort of discuss the
Yep,
final arrangements.
yes, will do.
Okay,
All right.
did we make our time?
Yeah.
Okay. Off to a good start.
All
When are
right.
you starting? Do we know yet?
I think that's what you're gonna, one of the
Yeah.
things you'll identify with Ken.
Yes.
Salary, hours, kind of the weeks.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
All right?
awesome. Thank you very
Good
much.
to
Nice
meet
to
you.
meet
Look
you.
forward to working with you.
Thanks.
What do you think? We can continue right on with Howard since he's here?
Sure.
Let's do that. Howard, if you're ready,
We're ready.
we're ready.
Ready.
Good evening. Or good afternoon, I guess.
And good afternoon to you, and it really is a nice afternoon.
Yes, it is.
10 minutes on the clock,
Okay,
that way you know when we're halfway
yeah,
through what's.
sounds good.
So let me. Picture of you.
Thank you, Howard.
We're gonna be talking. We're gonna be talking.
Hold on, oh,
Thank you, sir.
Now, perfect copy, and I will send an email copy to Ken with a copy to you.
Yeah. And Howard, Ken is away this week. So,
I actually had heard that,
yeah,
but I'm sure that. They'll take care of it.
yes, indeed.
Anyway, first of all, thank you for making some time. We had actually thought about asking for time last meeting, but there was too much going on for you guys, and Ken said, why don't you wait until June 3rd?
Yeah.
So that's why we're here tonight. We want to talk about several things. Briefly, we want to talk about the experience that we've had the last year, very quickly, in not just rate savings for energy, but also Canterbury's allocated share of joint reserves. And the total of those two things, which CPC&H calls community benefits. Secondly, we want to talk about the rate setting procedure for the next 6-month period, which starts, believe it or not, on August 1st, but believe it or not, the rates have to be set in June. And so we've got a very compressed schedule in June for the rest of this month that involves select board action.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that. Thirdly, we want to talk a little bit about the discussions that have been going on for the last 6 months on the Canterbury Community Power Committee about whether we want to get involved in a community project of some kind, whether it's an energy generating facility or whatever, storage, you name it. So we'll talk about a little bit about and that will include a quick summary of a meeting we had this week with 8 other towns from Maryland about that same issue. So we'll talk about that. I want to draw your attention to first two pages that are stated together. Okay. The page is the Coalition Community Benefit Report through March 31, 2024. Those are the most recent numbers we have. And I want to draw your attention to three columns. About halfway along, you see joint reserve, $86,000. Two columns to the right is customer savings. Those are the energy rate savings that have accrued to Canterbury residents because we've been in Canterbury Community Power since last May. And finally, the sum of those two things is $270,000 figure that you see under community benefit in the next column. Compare that, if you will, quickly with the next page. It gives you essentially the same information as of August in 2023, which would have been, June, July, would have been 2.5 months after we started providing electric energy to Canterbury residents. We had, I'm going to start with customer savings. We had customer savings of 61,000. We had allocated share of joint reserves. And you can think of that as the enterprise reserves for the coalition. Canterbury has an allocated share of it based on our rate share of the annual load. Okay. So in August, through August of last year, the customer savings were reserves allocated to Canterbury were 41,000. So you can see how that's grown in the last year. And it will keep growing. It's not going to grow as fast as it did in the first 3 months. Because remember the first three months, we had that strange situation where gas prices were just through the roof, and we were able to undercut both the utility and the energy rate by 40%, 30%. We're not in that situation again, but we have still maintained our advantage price-wise vis-a-vis compared to the utility default energy service rates. And we hope and expect that will continue into the next 6 months. Even though we do not know what the coalition rate schedule will look about so in the second the 2-page email staff memo color behind it. Go together. And I just want to focus you, the cover email was from Brian Collins, CEO of the coalition. And if you turn to page 2, I want you to just look at everything that has to be done to establish coalition rates and rates for Canterbury Community Health for the next 6-month period, starting in August, beyond this month. And you don't have to walk through all of these dates, but I want to call your attention to 2. The second bullet, at the top of the page, says Friday, June 21, Eversource, Liberty, and Unitil period August 1 through 31. We don't deal with Liberty, so you can forget about Liberty. Just call them out. The important thing is that the Eversource and the Unitil rates will be known not by June 21, but actually by June 14. That's important because, correct me if I'm wrong,
June 14 or June 21?
June 14. It's
Oh.
Liberty that doesn't come in until June 21.
Oh,
We'll have Eversource and The reason that's important is, if I'm not mistaken, your next meeting is on June 17th.
Yes.
And Monday following, the Thursday on which we will know the Unitil and Eversource. Things go right. I'm hoping that, although we're again squeezed at the end of the month, it always seems to work that way.
Yeah.
That we will be able to present to you on June 17th a choice about how to deal with these rates going forward. And I mentioned two alternates that we've been thinking of, okay? One would be simply to continue with Granite Basic, which is what it's been from the beginning, which emphasizes the lowest possible price. And, you know, does a big favor for everybody in Concord who wants to save money, which is most of them. Right? Choice is the subject matter of this staff memo. And you don't have to read it right now. I'm going to call your attention to a couple of sentences. But basically, this is the memo that talks about what is essentially a new rate product that will be offered effective for the next rate period starting in August. And it's called a discretionary reserve adder.
Adder, like ADDER.
Exactly, like the snake. No, kidding.
Sorry, players.
So let me talk a little bit about what a discretionary reserve adder would be. And to give you background on it, you will know, because we've known it from the beginning, that Canterbury has its allocated share of joint reserves. Right now, they amount to about $86,000. But we can't get at those for probably three to 4 more years, because they are right now essentially supporting and building up the creditworthiness of the
The
coalition,
whole coalition.
okay? They really are the equivalent of net equity on the coalition balance sheet. But Canterbury has its allocated share, only we can't access it.
Howard, could you back up a second? When did you say that we might be able to access those?
3 to 4 years, but it's a moving target. And
I'll just say 3 to 4, I just wanted
Yeah.
to, so.
just quickly, the reason it's a moving target is that what the coalition has discovered is we are growing so fast in terms of the addition of new member towns that we're adding new towns at the rate of 2 or 3 a month.
Really?
And yeah,
Great.
we now have 56 member towns, of which fully 34 expect to be providing power this year to residents. We got in on the first wave of that as part of the first 12 towns. And that served us very, positioned us very well for what we've been able to do so far. But because we can't, and we can talk more about why we can't access those reserves if you're interested, but the important thing is that discretionary reserves would be a potential way of starting to accumulate funds that we could access whenever we want. And so I just want to suggest that we're going to be asking for some more of your time on June 17. And I would hope and expect that we would come in and hopefully give you 2 choices. One would be just to continue with Granite Basic, which is now 8.1 cents. It's the cheapest electric energy rate in the state, bar none. And the other would be, if we can continue to beat the Eversource and Unitil default energy service rates, and still put away a couple of mils per kilowatt hour into discretionary reserves, we would begin to accumulate the counterpart, or the, effectively, it's like a capital reserve fund. And it would be available to Canterbury at any time after we've started accumulating it. It could be, this is.
And doing that is the discretionary reserves adder, that's the.
Yeah, there's an example on the second page of your memo of how that, it's the table there.
Oh, yeah.
And the discretionary reserve adder added to a rate would give us what the coalition is calling the local product rate.
Mhm.
You see it there?
Yep.
So as an example, Beth, right now, Canterbury's default rate is Granite Basic, which is 8.1 cents a kilowatt hour.
Mhm.
Eversource, by comparison, has a default energy rate right now of 8.4 cents. Okay?
Okay.
I'm sorry, did I say 8.4? I meant 8.3. So there's a two mil difference between our Granite Basic and Eversource. We don't know what Eversource's rate is gonna be right now, but we will know it by June 14th. By then, we will also, I think, have a pretty good guess as to whether or not energy forward market rates generally are going up or down. And if we can, with some confidence, predict that Canterbury could maintain its own lowest rate, but still squeeze in discretionary reserve adder, we would frankly want to give you that choice on June 17th. So, and at that point, the important thing is that you're going to need to make a decision either at that meeting or somehow else before noon on June 27th, which is when the board sets the final rate, because that all has to be done before the coalition board establishes those rates.
Before noon of what, June,
So why don't we do this? I think we're getting short on
Right.
our time allotment. Why don't we, on the 17th, discuss,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's what I want, that's what I wanted to leave it there.
okay,
Now, given the time is short, I'd like to just very quickly tell you where we are generally in terms of CCPC's understanding of its responsibilities and its mission. We are feeling really good about the way in which community power rates have worked for Canterbury. We've felt very good about the way the select board has worked with us to set those rates after they've been established by the coalition board of directors. I don't worry about that going forward. I think that's going to continue to go smoothly. We have spent the last 6 months struggling because we have this idea that ideally we'd like to find a way of allowing Canterbury to participate in the generation of renewable energy if we can find the right product.
Yeah.
We have worked really hard. We have looked at 8 different sites in town, including one that is actually owned by the town and located on the east side of Route 106. It's a 30-acre lot, which for a whole bunch of site-specific reasons probably isn't going to go anywhere. Others are too small, or they're not close enough to 3-phase power, or for some reason they don't work. In addition, we had 10 minutes, which we don't at this point. Lenore could walk you through her odyssey trying to make her way through federal funding opportunities under the IRA and the Infrastructure Act. And they're there. It's just
I think you've just covered the whole thing, Odyssey and federal funding, I think we get the picture.
It's like finding where's Waldo. We're gonna continue to work at that. But we had a meeting this morning at which Lenore and I and Kent, who's the select board representative to CCPC, went and spoke with representatives of 8 other towns that are members of the coalition in Merrimack County. And the discussion focused on 3 possible ways of developing renewable energy projects that we might participate in. One would be what we call a single town project. located in Canterbury, developed by Canterbury Community Power, financed through federal funding or something else. For all kinds of reasons, I think it's fair to say that discussion this morning sort of confirmed our sense that that was going to be a long shot. That's the first option. Second option would be collaborating with other member towns in Merrimack County to find a site somewhere on one of those other towns or on other land altogether that could be leased or bought, and collaborate both on the funding and on hiring the development expertise, which we also don't have in-house.
Yeah.
Okay. So those last, that would be the second option. The third option may turn out to be the most interesting, the fastest, and that would be a project that would actually be developed by the coalition that we would be able to participate in by buying a piece of it up front. That's where the discretionary reserves could come in really handy. It's too early yet to know what that might look like. This discussion this morning was 2 hours, but everybody left saying, boy, we've got a lot to chew on. And there will be more of those meetings. But the one thing I think we can assure you is that we're not going to have anything to propose in the way of a project that the selectmen would consider approving or not for probably at least a year or two. So.
Well, until that time, we get to enjoy the benefits of the great rates that you're
Yeah.
that you're getting for us, so.
Do you want to add anything?
Just that we're gonna have a meeting of the community power group next week, right?
Simple.
And that, we're gonna have to look at what are our priorities going forward, because we've been focused on this solar project. So one of the things we're gonna look at is a cell tower
Thank you.
subcommittee, because everybody in town has talked with us, a lot of people, I should say, not everybody, about improving cell service. So we'll probably form a subcommittee just to take that on.
If you want us to. I mean, this is something that, you know, having, and I credit Lenore and Ken, because they started looking at sites. We looked at a lot of sites in town and sort of have a feel for how you go about looking for them.
Yeah.
If we can help them in that way, we're ready to, and we would probably do it through through a cell coverage subcommittee. But that's something we can talk about again on June 17th.
Yeah, we can be thinking about it between now and then.
Yeah, because I've heard different discussions about about cell towers versus cell usage, if that's correct. Like how you can improve your reception, but not with towers per se. I don't know how that works, but that's
And
something
Bo
that's.
is in the middle of, you know, looking at all of that. So there are other towns in this region that are going through the same issues. One other thing I would be remiss not to say, at some point in the next 3 to 4 months, we will be looking to find a new chairman of our committee, because with mixed feelings, I have to say that we're likely to be in Pennsylvania this time next year.
Knew it was coming.
Well, that is a sadness on many levels.
Yes, it is.
Anyway, unless you have questions.
My only question is there any progress on how to get us solar people involved in?
Net metering,
Yes.
yeah, okay. Can I take another 3 minutes?
Please.
The short answer is we continue to be stymied at the moment by, I'm sorry. Excuse me. We continue to be stymied by not very subtle opposition from Eversource on that. So it is proceeding in several arenas. One is the legislature. And we were hoping, frankly, that the legislature would essentially provide a solution for us on that in this term of the legislature. We think that that has run aground on the rocks between the House and the Senate, because among other things, the Department of Energy essentially filed a letter opposing HB 1600 after they had initially indicated they were fine with it. And what it's going to do is basically kill HB 1600, which is the bill that would have allowed community power to net meter at rates that are set by the coalition and providing full credit for the net energy or the excess energy that is sent back to the grid by PV solar people. There are also two dockets, not one, but two, going on, and I say two, actually there's three dockets right now that are proceeding at the PUC. And the most important of those, they thought there was going to be a settlement agreement on. It looks now as if that settlement agreement has fallen apart, and there's going to be a hearing on the merits, probably no earlier than August. And then it could be literally months before the commission decides that issue. So unfortunately, there was a good reason for that.
All right. So the issue is still creeping around
It's still there.
in everybody's
It's still
mind
there. We
and
just
unresolved, but
We
no
haven't had
progress.
the breakthrough on it that we hoped we would.
Okay,
And we'll say more about that in the town newsletter. That comes out in July.
right.
Because the June newsletter is out already.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that news is not so good.
I can't really complain because I haven't seen the electric bill in a very long time, but it would be nice if it was worked out to everyone's
Yeah,
satisfaction.
we're continuing to do it, but that issue is being handled very competently at the coalition level by Cliff Below, the chair
Oh, good.
of the coalition board. And
That's who wrote the memo, correct?
no, the guy who wrote the email memo is Brian Coleman, who's the
Oh, okay.
CEO. Cliff Below is really the founder and godfather of the Community Power Coalition of New Hampshire. He's a former PUC commissioner, former legislator, state rep and state senator, knows this stuff inside and out, and he's had a lot of success working with the legislature. Problem is coming from the Department of Energy, which for some reason, I'm not gonna speculate, although if you saw me privately, I would give you an earful.
That would take another 20 minutes at least. Suffice to say, they're working on it
They're working on it.
competently, which is good to know. Alrighty, wow, this is a lot to chew on, thank you.
Time and place of that meeting on June 12th?
Pardon?
Time and place of that meeting on June 12th? Is it open to the public?
That'll be at the municipal complex. Up
Yeah.
at 26 Baptist Road.
Public?
Yeah, public.
Time?
All of our meetings are public, 7 o'clock in the fire department training room.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Could you,
love to have you there.
Sam's thing really quick?
Of course, we can.
All he needs is to read out his motion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Step up.
Okay.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks.
You're fine.
Yeah.
All right, so, the board had previously discussed appointing Sam Pax as agent for the town. Online adjustment with map 241 lot 25.
Getting close to clear and close,
Okay.
finish the lot line adjustment with the hands, and we need somebody to go to the closing and finish that up.
Right.
And
Which is-
accept it on behalf of the town and hands this out to somebody.
This is for the property behind the cemetery?
Yes.
Okay. And anything from you on that?
No, I think it's perfect.
Okay, very good. All right, so I'm gonna read this into the record. Motion to appoint cemetery trustee Samuel Paps to attend the closing of the lot line adjustment with the Hannon property, map 241, lot 25, June of 2024. Do we have an exact date?
We don't.
So we'll leave it at June of 2024, and to appoint said Paps, the agent of the town, to transact the business of said closing with the Hannons in absolute title.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll keep you updated.
Yeah.
Hopefully in July, we'll have results.
Very good.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Sam.
Thank you.
Is that too fast? Did you catch that on our time sheet?
That was,
Bill, time to start the timer.
didn't even start.
All right, that brings us to,
So the, at 5:45
yep,
is the dashes,
so can we jump ahead, or what do you wanna do? What are you thinking?
I was thinking that we do the administrative stuff first, because there's potentially people who
Because we're ahead. Oh, I
were
understand what
ahead.
you're saying. Okay. Why
And
don't I have you sit back down for just a few minutes? Okay.
Sorry.
Cal is probably right, but
I
All
just
right.
don't want people mad.
I understand.
They missed their time.
Yeah. All right, so the first item is the accounts payable manifest, right, Cal? Yeah, in the amount of $24,386.85.
And seconded.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's accounts payable,
Kind of thin, huh?
seems that way.
Is it possible that we can browse through the accounts payables and things like that before the meeting starts? Like if I wanted to and came in one day.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mary usually has this ready, before she leaves at 2.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
All right, next is the payroll manifest in the amount of $41,607.54.
So moved.
And seconded.
All those in favor? Aye.
I,
Intent, notice of intent to cut wood or timber. Borough Road, 60 acres. Lot, Cal, is that 16? Map 221. And I think we just signed.
Mhm.
Thank you. Give that back to you.
you said that's Borough Road?
That is correct. Lot 16, map 221.
Is this a normal amount of intent to cut timber? Out of curiosity, we seem to be signing one of these like every meeting.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's a normal.
You have any sense, Kent, if that's?
I think we've seen about this one. You go through different phases here, of course.
Speaking,
Okay. You want to put something or?
Yes.
Okay.
So on this one, this is the master service agreement, so it's a contract that has optimization for the website.
Yeah.
What I wanted to point out is that I misunderstood how their payment plan worked. I thought that they were charging per hour and that we would spend per hour. They actually also asked for a deposit up front and then the other half at the end. So that was part of your reasoning for choosing housing optimization, so I wanted to be clear that I misunderstood that, and I told you the wrong thing last time. So in this contract, it is the actual deposit and then second half
So
later.
5,000 deposit and then,
Yes, 5,000 deposit, 5,000 due prior to purchase.
The bottom line still comes out the same, it's just how it was being,
Yes.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make sure you all understood that, that information is incorrect when I told you last time.
So you've started on it, right?
Kind of, we've
I
met
see a little
and,
thing, I something down in the middle of the thing, I questions.
question?
Let's just talk about it later.
Logan and I had met just to get the scope of work together and, get them access to everything.
and I don't, did we do a motion last time, so we're just.
You don't,
signing?
just sign it. She just needs,
Yeah.
they just need somebody to sign it. I Scott,
Okay,
so if you're all okay with it, then.
and this contract will be on file, basically one to read.
so got a couple minutes until,
You could do minutes approval if you wanted.
yeah, why don't we do that?
For the regular minutes, I have a couple, suggested changes that Beth emailed me.
Okay,
So on 77, Beth proposes adding, or I guess changing 177 to, Beth does not know what the PD patrol schedule is, but asked if it's be sure reports whenever they're out that way. Chief Crotty replied that they would.
okay. Seems to me,
And then line 174, item II would come after item IV. That's just switching them around to
gotcha,
reflect
Yeah.
the linear progression of the conversation.
Yeah.
And then line 186, changing the word they to HDC, so that reads, that said, the HDC would need to discuss reasoning with Rachel. That way it's more clear
I got you.
who they,
So replace it, they, HDC,
yes.
understood.
Because otherwise it sounds like Rachel needs to talk to the board of selectmen, which is.
Right. Yeah, no, I,
That's all.
clarity is always better.
So are there any other suggested changes?
For me,
Is everybody okay with the changes? By
Yeah.
Then
so
can
looking,
you motion to add them?
yeah, as a,
So moved as amended.
all those in favor? All right, that brings
Thank you,
us
Carol,
to
for-
the executive
Yes.
session. We should all.
Come back.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. I think I'm in a little bit.
I move the minutes as written.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
You give these back.
Yes, please. The only other thing administrative is a reminder of the joint public meeting with the squad, Canterbury Southbury, which is on Wednesday, June 5th at 5 p.m. You all were told about it before, and I think you all got the email with the agenda, so this is just a, if you're going, don't forget, please.
Right.
And if you wanna look at the agenda,
No, I will, do you want to see the agenda? And I will not be there unless for some reason the market seems to be fine, in which case I'll scoot over, but our section is like 10 minutes.
Right.
Oh, but they wanted us to rest. Yeah.
Presentation by 10 o'clock.
That's June fifth, right,
Right. Wednesday
this week.
of this week, right. It's a busy week.
Where's this gonna be?
School. Hall.
It's the old school, isn't it?
And I posted this in the Stanley House, because 2 or more people are doing that's technically. So,
Yeah, it is a public meeting. There'll be 3 select board there, I think, as well. Then you wanna hold on to that?
Sure. All right, 5:46.
Actually, I mean, just, we're talking about, just a reminder also, the, Lyford Dam here, or excuse me, the, 7 p.m. on Thursday, June the 6th. I think we agreed we'd all rest on Friday, so.
Yes. So long as we're talking about reminders, I think you have, I know you have it on the office calendar, but I will not be here on the meeting on the 17th.
I remember you had
But if I don't know, I'm assuming if you're both here, you don't need me to weigh in on community power unless you want me to. I am available with you if it works.
So it's every single time we do this. This is.
Okay, this is,
This
always kind of a hurry up.
date will come up.
Exactly right. That's it. We have special meetings in the past, because it just, usually we have to follow. All right, anything further?
I don't think so, not if we're not doing.
So come on down.
I've got some information on that's one. Representative this evening.
We haven't seen this.
I believe you were to send it as soon as it arrived on page 1. I am. Can I get your name? Sure. Amy. Amy, are you also attending?
Yes.
Such.
So attorney Hall, attorney, so I think the name is right. Mr. Stout, good evening to you, sir. I'll make it, Scott, I'm the chair of the planning board, the select board, one of the other select people, and Kent. I don't think we. All right, so help us bring us up to speed. Mr. Nash has filed his driveway permit application, is that right?
No, you heard, you just, did I?
I did. Sorry, I didn't know how this.
When he handed you that, he found that what you're looking at is the previous one from 2017.
Thank you.
That is my renewal one. That's it.
It's just- Now, can I have this, is there, did you just make one of these?
I just have the letter, but you can have that, 'cause it's just the email that I forwarded.
Oh.
If you need a paper copy, you can keep that.
I've got that. Copies of- Everything is good.
All right, so we have spoken with our town attorney, and at this point, we are not ready to decide either it's a class 6 or a class. Look through some of the history of that, and it's gonna take. So we're gonna accept your application tonight, but we go through with it in month of class 6 the application, because we have to determine. So we certainly start the process, get the department heads reviewing it. To examine Ivan, but I don't know how select board members feel, but this is a very complicated matter. It's just gonna take some time to probably to make a decision.
We're here tonight primarily to listen, make ideas. We realize it's a complex matter. We would like to avoid being in an adversarial position.
Understood?
We would like to avoid going to court. You need a court order, you know. We will see that. I would rather, that we keep listening and discussing and talking and trying to work it out.
Agreed. Yeah, I certainly hold 100% agree. So, to that,
Reason they don't want anybody at the other end.
I do not know,
2 years ago. No.
I would not,
I think that's part of the question that we can't speculate on
Yeah.
or put have input.
That's all we would do. I'd put it in the deed, whoever bought the lot would join the maintenance of the road. Simple.
yeah,
It's not,
and I think it's a good call to suggested cooperation is always.
yeah. Like I said, Webby sent them an email stating that. We don't know how it got to this point of nothing settled. Instead of just being,
Civil War.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, it's got to be a problem for us to speculate.
Do you have any rough idea of the kind of time?
Well, I was gonna say, schedule a work session to focus just on this. And if we can do that, but I'm gone for, days in June, but other than that, I'm here, so whatever.
Yeah.
I would say sooner rather than later would be helpful.
Yeah.
But my first question is, can we actually physically accept the application if one of the lots is
I would not be checked. Shirley Hall. The lead got checked.
Can I take a look? I'm not sure.
The, I went on. I,
I'm willing to uncheck it as long as the property doesn't get changed.
Understood.
Oh, correct. Thank you, Liz. How do we determine that, how do we make that untapped?
How much? I know. Yes. Be willing to addition. That
Yeah.
That's your
That's
exercise.
everything.
And I would just add, if I can be of any assistance, give me a call or something. Yes.
Oh, that was where you were.
You're looking for what kind of duration?
Sure.
Just so we know. The remainder of the summer, starting,
I think,
Maternal, I initialed and dated,
thank you.
and that's it, so.
but I'm available, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You do have hours of paperwork too showing like back in 1940.
We do.
Okay.
Yes, and I've actually read that, and the other board members have as well. There's several.
Oh, wait, I haven't seen that handwritten that I know of.
And also the website that you can get more of those showing at other towns and everything before that date.
Yeah.
You know, that if we had to go to the state. Be signed.
There's that. Are you familiar with the process from here as far as what happens with a department?
No.
Okay, so let me just sort of explain it. So what will happen is that document will circulate to the department head. Each department head is expected to go up, probably in terms of the biggest department is going to be the fire department. So in terms of getting a piece of fire apparatus in, police department is, much fire department, 20 to 25 ton vehicle.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. The guy that put my at the trust coming to me.
Yeah.
Coming from the south end with a tractor trailer truck and he goes, I can't turn this around with,
So,
so he just drove all the way through with the trusses. So.
Yeah, my expectation is that it'll take a few weeks. We can go from there.
Were you guys able to go there? Look?
I've had that, yes. If you, can't,
Recently, and I'm assuming it's okay if we just come in and look.
I don't Anybody go?
My question is, department heads are going to be coming in from both ends and looking at the entirety of the road. Is there still an issue with a gate?
I believe last time the gate was on.
Yes, I believe it.
Still in place but unlocked,
It
so
is.
that if the fire department goes out, they can bring it up and go through.
Understood, right,
Yeah.
Should be. Yeah. Okay.
I get that.
Oh, I did say where the driveways are going to,
Understood,
and also right there in the driveways.
Out in the field.
In the field.
There's-
Yeah. I think I would say
Oh, okay.
ribbon I put,
maybe I'll take a look.
and then you go back down to the next one, and that's where the around would be fireman and the driveway. So yeah.
I think,
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only other thing worth mentioning is once we're through this process, you'll be dealing with the road agent. As far as material to bring in. As far as I know, I don't think this will change. The material that you wanted to use is not. Work with the road agent on getting the proper material.
Yeah, he was out there with us once already. Nice. Yeah, he's like, all the south end, he goes, it's shorter, he goes, it makes more sense. And he's kind of one of the ones that pointed out on the paperwork, but
But you'll be dealing with him as far as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just, ask, where did this document come from?
That was just in, so
Yeah, we'll have to wait till we get that. I know he's been doing research as best he can.
we can get that all clarified for the working session.
Yes, because I've got a whole slew of documents and a timeline that I've been putting together as well.
You want that?
Yes,
This one,
yes. Want this back, because I've,
Yeah. Be public, or was that?
work session will be public. Yeah, work sessions are always noticed and public. And probably. Have a, you know, so,
that makes sense.
well, yeah,
Could we request that they be recorded as well?
of course, I think, don't we, as a matter of course, record.
Not the working session, because usually they're out in the same house.
So, yes, I'll give you a short answer. We'll make sure that it's here and with the equipment that's here, we'll record. So, yes. Certainly. Anything from you, attorney?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That chair.
We did.
Whichever he would. Before.
Are good for four.
Four would be one.
I don't have too much to go over tonight. By way of introduction, my name is Amy Manselli. I'm an attorney from DCM Environmental and Law. And I do represent most of those households on the southern portion of Wyven Road. I'm just getting up to speed, so it is complicated. I don't have a good handle on quite everything yet. And I have not seen that application that was just submitted.
Okay.
So I can't comment on the details. I don't know if it's a driveway application to cut into Shaker Road, or if it's a 674-41, let's make sure this is not a private road, or if it is a private road, let's give me permission to build on it. So I will be looking forward to get a copy of that,
Sure.
commenting on it. But what I wanted to say tonight is to step forward my client's position that the southerly portion is private. It was discontinued as a public road in that 1941 town meeting. That's all that's required to make the road private. As you know, when a town meeting takes an action, that's the legislative act. That's all that was required. I'm sure, as you know too, when towns, kind of by mistake, they start plowing roads, or they start graveling roads, they start maintaining the road by, because they didn't realize it wasn't their road. That can reinstate its public status. No evidence that has happened here. It's been properly maintained. It's maintained its private status since 1941. That's point number one. Point number two, there's only a limited group of people that have been granted access to use that southern portion on the right of way, and the applicant is not one of them. So I've included two key documents to add to your mountain of papers here, some of which you might already have in your files. I have not come to town hall to get a copy of the file yet, which I will do. But one is a town memo from, I believe it was 1990, sorry, off by a decade, but when it goes back to 41, it's a lot of years there. It identifies Article 14 from the 1941 meeting. And then the other is just the easement deed. The 2000 and the 2000 deed, which identifies all of the lots that benefit, and I like the drafted this, I like the way they did it, because on the signature page, they just listed all the lots that benefit and have that access on the southern portion. And I did write a letter, we say this early portion, what we're talking about is immediately south of Mr. Lots. So that is the southern portion. Now, again, I have not done a site visit yet. We have really close friends in Canterbury who come here all the time. I was just here picking up my teenager from one of her best friend's house, out on Hackleboro Road, on Sunday. And I'm very familiar with the area, but I may be misspeaking here. We don't understand why the emergency turnaround access cannot be contained within Mr. Nash's property and then moving northward. We fully understand the need for emergency access turnaround. We do not want to stop Mr. Nash's plans. We certainly don't want to frustrate first responder access to these properties. But we think it can be accommodated on his properties and through the northern access. So that's what I have to set forward tonight. I look forward to further informing myself, getting a copy of that application. I likely will be here at the work session, not positive on that, but appreciate the board's careful consideration that you're consulting town council. I welcome any questions. I'm not sure I'm going to have answers yet. Oh, I do want to say the answer to the question that Mr. Nash posed earlier, just sort of like, why, what's the problem here? It's that the southern portion of the road is not, the road is not a through road. The southern portion of the road is very quiet. It's not well traveled, and it is primarily used by the people that live on it. It's super peaceful. It's very wooded. It's not wide. It's one of your quiet residential rural Canterbury roads. And converting this into a throughway, especially for now construction access, emergency access, first responder access, and the potential could be anyone who wants to skip shake the road traffic will dramatically alter the character. So that's why. And then with the legal rights that support, my client sticking up for the rights.
Two questions for me that you may or may not be able to answer tonight. Soft path when was that formed? Do you know?
I do. Let
Okay.
me just check my file real quick. It won't
Your
take long.
question and mine are,
Oh, good. Okay.
Yep.
because I get my question, which kind of goes with Scott's, is when you say you represent the members on the southern end of the road, are you actually representing them as the Soft Path Community
No.
Association
No, I'm not. I represent the household.
individually?
Yes.
Okay.
Me here.
Yeah, I was looking for information on Soft Path and
It is only in hard copy. Let me give you an email tomorrow if it's okay. My software is not. Yes.
And the second question.
Are you looking for like sort of 411 on the association or
Yeah.
just the okay?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, thank you. Do you know enough of the history? I guess I'm just curious why this north-south division occurred.
I don't know for certain. I think it's because the Mead family and the Mead brothers in particular, I think it was
I see them list.
Tim and Gregory.
Yep.
Their ownership did not extend all the way north. I believe that is the reason why, but I'm not certain at this point.
Okay. Any questions?
No, it's going interesting.
Yeah.
well, that would be, one of my questions that I would want answered is, why is it not considered like a through, why there is a north division? How one end can be considered different than the other, why there's this barrier. And, that's something I'd want to be made.
Yeah. Well, our position is that the entirety of the road is private. That 1941 vote, my understanding at this point in my analysis, goes to the whole road. I do not think that part of it is public, and part of it is private. The right of way, however, the right of way does not grant access to my clients for the entirety of Wyven Road. It only grants access for what is had ownership on, which was the southern portion.
That is also something that would need to be explored.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
We are at time.
Okay, understood.
I've said what I need to say.
Understood.
Further questions?
Thank you.
Yep, thank
We
you.
appreciate
So
it.
we'll get a document from you and you'll have the,
I'll email you all the documentation that I have.
Perfect, thank you. And then I'll have an email contact because I wasn't sure how to email the board.
Okay, I'll email you first.
Okay.
And did you give one of these packets to Attorney?
I did. Perfect. Yep, thank you.
thank you.
Attorneys, thank you. Appreciate
you.
your time.
You got the handwritten copy.
Yes.
Access.
Thank you. See you later.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I print out the signs. I got a printout of the proposed.
Thank you.
Thank you for checking. And current.
Okay.
You want it working like you have? Okay, there's the
There's
proposal.
only one print out multiple for everybody.
This is currently proposed. So the proposed, I assuming what's in gray is what is different.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to send you a track changes version of the old policy to make it clear what was, but I managed not to save it before I edited it, so the items that are struck out and suggesting need to be deleted or changed, and then any new text or highlighted sections are new or edited. Can I start this by saying that the point here is to try and get buy-in and to agree on exactly what the rules are for access and parking down there at the Riverland and get everybody on the same page. It's not designed by any means. We have other information that's not regulatory that we'll want to add, so it'll be design phase at some point. We're just looking at this point for see if you all have agreement questions about proposed date change and
Okay.
anything like that, and then how we work it through with the police department. Does it go from you to the police department, or do you want us to go to the police department?
Could you put up the proposed sign?
Yes. Is it, Kelly, you're just gonna go through and highlight where you've done changes and just say, well,
I wasn't planning to, but I did.
it doesn't look like there's that much.
So, it's not that much, it's, start at the beginning, so this is the regulation, selectmen's regulations. In 1.2, it had said Canterbury residents, property owners and their guests. We had LCIP money paid for this project.
Okay.
Property, so we can't,
Understood.
yes,
There's no way to check.
no.
So,
It's just- in item E under parking, it had said there is no parking on Oxbow Pond Road at any time. And I think what I was going for there was just that's no longer true, because what happened was there used to be no parking, but the parking lot needs to be closed part of the year because of the concern for dumping and because it floods. And of course, we don't want to plow it and maintain it. So, but the property is open year round, so people have to have a place to park. So the town in some previous incarnation created those couple of parking spaces outside the gate, but that's only for the winter use. People are supposed to park there in the summer and create a log jam so that an emergency truck couldn't get through. So separate.
Kelly, is there any signage proposed for those spaces only?
Yeah, so the three signs, one would be a road sign on the side of the road that says when you can park here and when you can't. really simple.
Yep.
The one that says gate. Sorry, the file names are not on this. so-
Winter parking only, winter
Yes,
parking only,
the
no
really
parking during the
simple,
summer.
the really simple one. Yeah. The one is very short, says welcome to the Riverland Conservation Area.
Riverland
This is the
Conservation.
one that would be at the gate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Because some people reach
Yep.
that, we feel like there has to be some kind of a sign at the gate because people reach, you can't see down the road all the way and you're not sure if you're in someone's driveway or
Right.
what. You can see Lucy's feet beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we want it to be clear, welcome, and then it reiterates the parking rules. Then when we drive down, the long one, probably with additional information, will be a kiosk type sign that welcomes people, gives them the rules, tells them to have a good time and be safe.
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the concept.
Yeah.
And currently we have multiple signs and they don't all agree with each other, which is really both trying to move the open date for parking earlier because as you know, mid-May, we had 85 degrees and people have to be down to the river even if they can't go in yet. And then get consistency across the signs.
But that coincides with when, was it Chief Gamache said that they've got the life rings down there already? So they would always be out by that open date. Okay.
Do you want me to keep going through the rules part?
Please.
So in parking, then it reiterates the parking rules, when you can park a lot or on the road. Hours of operation, town beach and parking area are open to the public between 7 AM and 8 PM each day. I honestly can't remember if that's a change of time. And it's changing the dates from May 15th through November 1st, so a little earlier. At all other times, the parking lot is closed, the conservation area is open for year-round pedestrian use, and we're trying to make that distinction because people have we've used the lot for years, they should know this, but they've gotten upset that they can't get in the lot, and they read it as though the property is closed. Property is not never closed,
Gotcha.
the parking is closed, so we're trying to distinguish.
Yep.
Page 2, under 1.6, enforcement, this section was read in a very convoluted way, from our opinion, previously giving the Conservation Commission enforcement responsibilities and rights, and that doesn't seem right. So the regulations shall be administered and monitored by any and all employees of the town of Canterbury, this is designated.
Any and all employees, like Cal could go down.
Well, I'm sorry, I thought we had changed this to say, police department. But I mean, that's, I would think that the only enforcement arm we have in town is the police department. So I think that's the clear and simple thing to do. If the select board has other people that they want to empower yourselves or other people to also enforce the rules, that's another thing.
I am not going down to Riverland to throw out the partiers, so, not me. All right, and very department, town employees and.
So I'm sorry, I hadn't read this for a while. So I'm following the old structure and maybe it should just be simplified even further. But it says, the regulation shall be administered and monitored by any and all employees of the town. The authority to monitor shall consist of the following: documenting and reporting violations to the police department. Which means any of the town employees, so if the highway department is down there and they see a problem, or the fire department is there and they see a problem, or Cal is down there and sees a
Maybe an
problem,
issue with access.
they can document. No,
I get what you're saying.
but it's not saying that they would actually do any enforcement, they would just, if they observed it, they would report it to the police department.
I would then take actions, I would say, strike administer actions to monitor shall consist of the following. Anybody who's down there who sees things can report it, and then the regulations shall be enforced that afterwards. Make it separate and make it clear that it's the police department that's in.
To be perfectly honest, we're willing to defer to you and the police department entirely on the question of enforcement. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
So
I can't see anybody else, but anybody should be able to.
Yep.
To monitor or we.
We just want to make sure that we don't get a civilian employee in a situation.
Right, no,
What's that address?
no, so I would separate those two things as far as monitoring and then, well, maybe monitoring and then enforcement, a different section or somehow separated. those two.
I also struck collecting fees if any apply. I don't actually know if we are allowed to charge any fees down there.
And how would you,
Yeah, and how would you? I can't imagine we would actually collect enough money to pay for the process of collecting.
put a tip jar, I suppose, but that's-
And
No.
it gets stolen when somebody bashes the window.
Yeah.
The fines and penalties, I just left what was previously there. We have no particular opinion about that.
have you ever collected any fines or penalties?
No, and this would all have gone through the police department, board, not us.
Have any ever been collected? I
That
suppose would be the,
I
That
don't,
would
don't.
be his chief question.
all right,
That we need to update the date and your names. So, and that's about it, and then I assume you might renumber it if you issue a new policy, or maybe there's a policy number at the front that needs to be edited.
Yes, again, it would be a Cal.
Yeah, if you, actually, you already gave me that, so I can
Yeah.
take the changes that you all agreed on just now, make a new copy, send it to you, send it to everybody to make sure that you all agree, and at the next meeting, I can just have them sign it.
But when do you want to check with the police department in this process? Is that, I'll send it to them and see if it's
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, as soon as that's done.
Okay.
we'll- Chief?
And, do you all have any concerns with changing the dates and that the parking is open May 15th to November 1?
Nope.
Okay.
like it's, it jives with how people are actually using the property, right? Seems to make sense.
Yeah. And I think it's fair to say that if it's a blizzard on October 30th, is there once in a while when we're allowed to not open the gate? Hopefully nobody will.
I do have one more question though, what's severance in the event that any sentence or section of these regulations is found to be invalid as a result of judicial.
That's in every contract, and that's so that if one item in the contract is found to be invalid, the rest of the contract is still valid. That was in the as optimization contract that you said earlier. They all have.
Yeah.
So I'm curious though, this is the regulation. Maybe I'm just unsure how this translates to becoming a contract. Is it a contract between the Conservation Commission and the town?
It's a
More like legalese. It's.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
Between a regulation and a contract.
well, if somebody takes us to court and says that section 1B isn't valid, and the court finds that section 1B isn't valid, then the severance section just makes it clear that we consider the rest of it to be valid. I don't know if it's actually necessary in
Okay. Thank you.
The one other thing I wanted to flag about this, briefly on the big sign, we have included for now the language no hunting. Other hunting areas are available nearby at Much Ado Banks, as you know, that's just right up the river or right up the road.
Change, Kelly?
No, the current sign does say no hunting,
Okay.
no hunting, did I say no?
You said no.
No. No hunting, but, you understand the rules about, if you really want no hunting, you have to follow the posting rules, which is signs every 50 feet all around the property. So that would be a very difficult thing for us to do. I've talked to Fish and Game about, participating in their landowner program that allows us to, and they would help us put up, safety zone signs. My thought is that everything from the parking lot upriver would be cordoned off with safety zone signs, because that's where the people go who are recreating.
Yeah.
And that the woods could stay open for hunting. You can't
Even though it says no hunting, they could be hunting.
Well, so
They're not in the safety zone.
so what I'm flagging is maybe that language has to change a little bit. We're still trying to work this out, figure out what the right way to do this is.
Clifton, I think,
Yes, well, keep in mind when you're thinking about opening up that hunting area, waterfowl season starts October 2nd. And then I think Canadian geese is September 1st to the 25th. There's like a window there you can harvest Canadian geese.
I'm sorry,
Maybe
what was the second 7 days? Your third
October 2nd there's a lot of
is waterfowl, and then the other one was,
Canadian geese, September 1st to September 25th. And then it opens back up October 2nd to November 30th. Yeah, there's some. Actually, that's the northern zone, I apologize. Inland would be, October 9th. That's on the fishing game website too.
yeah, it's
Sorry.
Canadian geese.
Clifton, do those change yearly or?
They're pretty close for the
Okay.
most part.
Yeah.
Is there any other bird that we have to worry about, like turkey season or anything
Well,
else down there?
so if the property, if people are hunting on the, if people are hunting the property, if we have not cordoned it off with no hunting, and we have not put up the safety zone, then people can hunt there.
Yeah.
And they, they follow the state laws, and there are dozens of different, permit seasons. And it's also been pointed out to me, excuse me, that some waterfowl hunters hunt from the river toward the beach or, toward the land. So that's a safety concern. I don't anticipate that we're actually gonna put up safety zone signs along where the,
Right.
beach facing the river. It's just a little bit of a difficult place to organize.
Have there been any incidents that you're aware of?
There have been encounters between nearby residents and hunters, and that where the resident encouraged them not to hunt there, and the hunter said they had to go hunt there, and they were gonna hunt where they darn well wanted to hunt. And so had a big gun, and it was scary from the residents' point of view, so they left it at that. So that's why we're trying to readdress how, this is probably our most highly used recreational area in town. So it seems to me one place that it's appropriate to consider putting limits on hunting to ensure the safety of the vast number of people who are down there recreating, especially since we have so many other areas in town that are to hunt. So more on the hunting details to be worked out. So that particular language may change.
Okay. Yeah, it definitely would be a further discussion.
All right,
Yeah.
so you all will via Cal get this to the chief?
Correct.
Okay.
To the police chief, yeah.
Let me know if he has any other opinions about how things should be.
Sounds good.
Okay,
Thank you, Kelly.
thank you all.
Appreciate your time.
Nice to see you and thanks for your time.
So Luke is next.
Hi, Luke.
How you doing?
Good, come on down.
What
Chief
should I say?
Gamache wanted to give you that.
Okay.
Do I need either of them?
No.
Do you want these back? Either recycle or whatever.
So then what we have is if you grant the special permit, that's the.
Okay, yeah.
This is the, information is in.
Right.
This is
Yep.
the email with all of the questions.
Right, which means, yeah,
This is the original of
Yep.
the fire
Weren't
questions.
there 2 more questions from Frank? Here,
That might have been.
Yeah. I don't think I've got that.
that's it, yeah.
So they're.
Alcohol allowed, Sand Hills Road is class 6, so you can't block it, and one about security.
Okay. I think I've got all. Obviously needs
Yeah.
cartridges.
Forward.
I know, but I don't wanna spend $150, whatever it is for cartridges,
Yeah.
they're ridiculous.
All right, Luke, welcome. First of all.
Thanks.
Good to see you. So this is concerning an event named Hideaway Circus that's gonna be taking place down at your farm on July 13th and 14th, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and I understand that you have been in touch with the Land Protection Committee, and they have asked that your event take place on their property, am I correct?
Forest Society?
Or that Forest Society, excuse me, thank you.
Yeah, on ours, so the south end of the farm.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. You're-
And so they said, for this
Yes.
year, the option would be
Yeah.
to take place on
Yeah.
the the area reserved for recreation and
Right.
that.
And I know
Your
that,
potential town recreation.
right. We had sent you some questions, you emailed back responses to all those.
Except the map, which I brought.
Thank you,
Yeah.
good. If you wanna bring that on up.
Yeah. I didn't actually draw it in.
Okay, so why don't, go ahead. Yeah, no, you don't have to draw.
So.
Just want a marker.
So this is Intervale Road.
Yep.
And Sand Hill
Yep.
Road. And this is the area that is reserved for town recreation.
Yep.
Which is basically that big field.
Yes.
On the right-hand
Yep.
side as you pull in down Sand.
And
Hill,
this is,
going to the
and this
beach.
is dirt, this is,
Inter-
that's Intervale, and that's a
Yeah.
dirt road that goes off, where were the sunflower fields, were they, you go down there?
They've been a variety of different
Okay.
places.
I
Last
know
year,
where
they
it is.
were on the south end, the last few years before that, they were up on this
Yeah.
end.
So where is the circus going?
So, yeah, so down in this corner.
Okay.
And so.
What's
we
there
would
right
have- It's just a field. It's just
Okay,
grass
so
field.
just grass?
Yeah.
Alright, understood.
You can mark it up.
No, actually, if you would, show Kent where
Yeah.
that's gonna be, so he knows as well.
So this is Sand Hill Road. This is that big field, which is part of the field reserved for town recreation. This is the swimming hole. Sand Hill Road cuts around that field, and so right in the west end of that field down in here would be the stage, and then, parking
Oh. Next question is where parking,
would be up on this end.
and this is
That's just an irrigation pipe
Oh, okay.
underground.
and it's okay for cars and things to drive over it and park?
Yeah, we
there?
drive tractors over it.
Okay,
Yeah, so. Yeah, we're just, it's 2 days, we haven't seen much as far as like compaction to the soil on 2 days where.
Yeah.
It's like a road that is what really is the problem, but.
Where will you be parking the vehicle?
So they'd be up on the east end. So there'd be parking up here, would probably be like flag gated, like or whatever, like just like ribbon entry through an admission, which would allow them to get down to this area.
So the flag entry will be where though?
On the field. We will not cut off.
And I'm sure you're aware.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely am aware.
Yeah, I figured, yeah. Okay, we'll,
And actually, we can't really force anybody to come through the gated area, right? Like if
Know what you're
if
saying.
if people insist like it's a town recreation area,
Right.
but we're trying to, and I think for the most part, people are gonna be, understanding.
yeah.
well, you'll be marking out survey tape or whatever.
Right, but if someone says, well, and we're not gonna cause any problems, of course. But, I mean, the whole point is to draw attention to the farm, and
Right.
so we'll be offering farm tours and
You can sit back.
even coupons to the farm store
Yeah. Cool.
with each admission, so.
Yeah, questions, from us, so will you be allowing alcohol on the premises?
No.
Okay, so what happens if I decide I'm there to have a good time, get drunk, and I pull up with a cooler full of alcohol and beer? What happens then?
I don't know, what do I?
Well, that's why I'm asking, so keep in mind, this is your event and your responsibility.
Yeah. Okay, so I should think about that.
I would give it some serious consideration.
What can I do?
So you can, well, first of all, you can deny them entry
Yeah.
or have them leave.
Yeah.
Our concern obviously is somebody goes down there, gets drunk and either causes a ruckus there or drives drunk.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Well, I mean, it could happen at the beach on any day.
Of course it can, but you're not responsible for the
Right.
beach.
Right.
You are responsible for this event.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so that's simple.
Yeah, so,
We
but-
can set that.
But now we have an understanding.
Yeah.
So, Sand Hill, we've already talked about, you're going to leave that open for people to come and go
Of
as a
course.
recreation. Are you hiring or are you having any type of security there for issues?
We weren't planning on it.
Okay, how many tickets have you sold?
There's 3 shows over
Right.
2 days and we've
Yeah.
sold 43 tickets.
Okay. So not likely you'll have a big crowd.
I don't, yeah.
What's your capacity per
We're
show?
hoping to sell 200 tickets per show.
Total, oh, per show.
Per show, yeah,
Oh,
they
per
did,
show.
a lot of people wait and see what the weather's gonna be.
And are you using a tent of some kind or is this all?
Maybe just to sell the snacks and stuff.
Understood,
But
okay,
not for the
so
circuit.
picturing that like an easy up type thing?
Right, like farmer market.
Yes.
Yeah.
20 by 20 concessions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My question was, is you hadn't planned to have emergency medical, that was your, is that required,
I don't believe it's required. but-
Yeah, I talked to the circus folks,
Yeah.
but that's who we'd be mostly concerned with.
Yeah.
And they said they never,
they don't travel with anybody and,
no,
interesting.
I mean, I'm not sure, so it's not like the Barnum and Bailey style circus.
No.
It's mostly aerial artists, but yeah, of course, they could get hurt,
Somebody falls off the high wire and lands on their head,
of course.
um,
But yeah, they said that they don't and they haven't had an incident.
Okay.
and they've got, they've got to be insured for whatever happens.
They and we,
Yeah, the rest of the questions were all answered. Fine, as long as the road is open and
Right.
you're happy getting somebody's cooler booze so that they don't,
yeah.
well, that would be a problem too, if they go on the farm and they're having a farm tour and deem themselves unfair.
Yeah, we haven't attracted those type of people, but of course, yeah, and I'll be there at the event, of course.
Yeah.
Leading the way, so I will be the filter.
Yes, it does with the job.
Responsibility, yeah.
So is that the, what happens now?
So I guess what happens now is we decide whether we are going to sign this permit or not.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Questions have been answered, you've done your
Just got
diligence
a
on
question
it?
for you personally though.
Yeah.
I know where Sand Hill starts and I know where it comes down through here, the road.
Yeah.
What does it end up over here?
I don't know how far it goes. I've been told it only goes as far as where the building was. It used to be a building like right in this area.
So this is an open field or not?
It's an open farm road,
Do
but
we all
I
know?
don't know
Oh,
if
yes.
Sand
Yes,
Hill
we do.
goes all the way.
There's,
I
well,
don't
it's listed
think
the
there's
same.
a motion.
Okay.
I didn't know if it was about it.
Is it good to make one
Barry
just
or-
to, so we have one?
I don't know.
Cool.
Yeah.
We,
I was
Well,
like,
yeah, actually.
motion to accept,
Grant the special
to
permit.
grant the special permit on May 20th.
Thank you.
Nope, actually it would be for
On the-
July
The
13th.
dates of July 13th and July 14th, 2024,
Right.
to Brookford Farm for the purpose of highway.
Yeah. I'll second that motion. All those in favor? Aye.
Thanks, I'm really sorry for the runaround. I'm sure that it was disrespectful for me to even come, of course, last time, to come late.
All right, now if
Taking
you
care of it
that,
now. Thank you.
I think we're set.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yeah,
Hope
thanks.
your sales increase.
Yeah. We haven't really, yeah, because we, what's gonna happen
Understood,
here,
yeah.
so. Do I get one?
Oh,
Do I get a copy of that?
You
can I
certainly
email you a
should.
copy of this?
That's fine, yeah, should I?
You definitely should.
Yes.
Post it.
Yeah, I will put it on my to-do list.
Okay,
Email you a copy.
Great, thank you very much.
Alrighty, thank you.
Have a good night, enjoy the
Yes.
summer.
Thank you.
That,
All right, I think that brings us to new business.
So you've got Sherwood Forest, Association, interested in town lots. You're not discussing it tonight, this is just the introduction and the paperwork.
Okay.
They're gonna come to the next meeting so that, if you have any questions for them, they can answer that at that time.
Okay. Oh, yeah, this is,
I did get a chance this weekend to drive around a little bit. I was over at the multifamily tag sale at Sherwood Forest. And drove around a bit and saw some of these lots. Joanna took me.
What are they trying to do here? Buy up pieces?
It sounds that way.
They're trying to protect, one, the forested nature, but also to do things like, there's a section where they're trying to maintain the road and they would like a lot to put materials on the work section. Joanna had sent an email to us, was that just this afternoon? Explaining what they wanted to do, and that was mostly it, they were trying to
Yeah.
useful pieces of property along the lines of what piece of property that we granted them to make a cut through. From Notting Hill to the other road in the case of an emergency, they're pieces of property they want to use for association purposes.
So it's the association and the owner of record.
I believe so, yes.
It's just the two, or?
Just the two.
Just the two. I know one of them definitely was for materials for maintaining the road. And the other, I think they want to leave as is, and I can't remember now the purpose of them wanting it, but Joanna will explain.
Yeah, well, let them tell us. Is you, red pen?
No, that's not. Now, is this map something that we have, did you send us all this?
You should have copies of all of that. I can send it out. I can double check. Doesn't hurt to send it out.
I don't remember seeing this and were we,
Yeah.
okay.
No,
I'd like to, that map of Sherwood Forest is great. I was
Yes.
saying to Joanna, she put me out in the middle after we drove around for like half an hour. It would take me 2 days to find Shaker Road. I did just,
You should get a copy of the town tax maps, because
Well-
all the numbers are in them.
right.
and that's fine, but when you're out there going up and down and we came around the dam from both different directions and it's not
Just a
complicated in
suggestion.
there. Yeah, oh yeah, that too.
That's useless, because you don't know where you are on it. I mean, so numbers are lost.
Right.
All right, anything further?
There is a question.
Just one question.
Oh, yeah.
Did you guys come up with a date already to do it?
Working session?
Yes, thank you.
We have not,
No.
Okay,
but, we must have your emails, right?
yes, yes.
So why don't we, because I wanna wait until Ken gets back.
Okay.
So that we make sure it's a date he's available. So it'll be next week, but obviously we will look to schedule it sooner rather than later.
Okay, perfect.
Um,
Thank you.
and certainly let you and everyone else know, because it will be a public session.
All right, sounds good.
All
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Do we need to come up with a couple of dates so we that all lawyers are in attendance, or are we the driving force?
We're the driving force. It'll be up to them.
Okay. Be there.
If they so decide.
Okay.
That's on them.
So we could skip the municipal records committee for now. It looks
Yeah.
like we're gonna have time, but just in case.
Yeah,
And go to
draft access,
draft access to town council policy.
and I think you,
This has already been emailed, Ken emailed this to us a couple of days ago, right? Yeah.
I think everyone's aware of the why.
And this has happened, there almost is, I believe there is a policy already on the record somewhere from the past, when they had to do this with the ZBA or similar, for similar reasons, and it's just,
Well, what we have to do is make sure the attorney is aware of that.
oh, yes. Now, I think in past, I could be wrong, but I think in past when they had this policy, you actually had to get like a purchase order from Ken to go to the, to go to town council. I'm not sure how that would work,
Yeah,
but
I'd certainly be in favor of any system that brought this under control.
As long as we don't discourage department head or committee heads from accessing that,
Hmm.
them in Concord.
Right,
I know that there's a friction going right here, I'd like to see it resolved, but I don't think it ought to be just dumped on the planning board that this is something they've done wrong.
no, I don't think it's anything they've done wrong, the fact is we've exhausted that line item in the budget.
I know, and the thing was in there for the planning board to use for what it felt it needed, and I think in this case, we've seen enough go through that board this year that I understand.
This has been an extraordinary year,
Yeah.
I would not argue that, I think you're absolutely right. It's been an extraordinary year, but I think all we're looking to do is just make sure that someone is contacting me, that's all. I don't see this,
Before they contact.
yeah, well, as you know, as soon as they contact them, we're gonna get a bill. The meter starts ticking as soon as the attorneys pick up the phone.
And you think that this will keep them from asking for counsel if they need to?
I don't want to, I don't know going forward, this is fine going forward, I just don't want to I don't want it applied retroactively to what I think is a situation with the planning board right
How
So-
would it be applied retroactively?
now. I don't know if that,
Like send them a bill for the time that they
yeah,
shouldn't
and
spend?
being unhappy with them because they use something that we set up for them to use. And this maybe is a better way of administering it, but I don't think it's wrong in the sense that we hadn't, I don't think we've described how they should use this before, have they?
I think this can only be going forward, it's not like they can be, we can penalize
Just
them.
making sure, dear.
I know, that's what I'm saying, I'm saying my point is I don't think it can, that should make you not be worried about it, because this is just for going forward.
Yeah, going forward without.
Yeah.
This.
And do we need to say, well, this is gonna be dated whenever we do?
Right.
Do we want to consider the language any more?
Well, I guess that's the next question that I had actually was, do you think we've had enough time to consider this, or do we wanna take it up at the next select board?
Well, the other thing, and I'm not sure if I just missed it in there, is this applying to all members of those boards, that they can't just walk into council?
Yes.
Okay, that's why I just want to make sure of that too,
What's, could any, you mean, the chairs of all boards or the members?
the members.
Okay, is it currently the policy that any planning board member could call town council?
I don't believe so.
I don't believe
But
what
it's
I
important.
heard.
Yeah, it is a good point. No, it should be, well, then that should be,
I think what
Clear.
Kent is suggesting, and I certainly would be, and I would be okay putting something in there that emphasizes that it is only the chair
yeah,
that should be contacting. council.
indeed, I just kind of assumed it.
But you know the problem with assuming things.
Yeah, that's true, it's the policy of the policy of the select board that access shall go through the select board, town administrator, department heads, employees or chairs, and or members of any other board. I would not have members in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, we have to say no one. We should specify that then. This should probably go back to Ken for another. Yes, yes, to say, only department heads shall contact town council with prior explicit approval.
We have discussion.
Only department heads or committee chairs. Suggested.
She almost should be part of the package that gets handed to the chairman of the board.
Well, this would also be, something like this, I would include in. And the code of conduct doesn't seem like a correct term for this thing, but this I would say, yeah, should be in there. It's part of a like how to be on the board in the town.
Much of that can be forward, that's exactly, And then what I'm suggesting is that we be working on it for the next.
Yeah. I would never have even thought that.
Well, I think it's a
As
very
you
good
say,
point
it is a
that,
good point.
that was raised, because if we can foresee it, and then it potentially can happen.
Yeah.
So, does any select board member have any business they wish to?
Are we going to go through the rest of old business?
What have we got?
My
I thought we
only,
were at the end.
this is me, highway staffing incentives.
Oh, okay.
And that's,
Sorry.
I don't have very much. The only thing is it sounds like, yet again, there was several potential applicants, and by the time we offered them the job, they'd said, no, we already found the job otherwise.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a good way to sweeten the pot to make it, and I don't know why they're accepting other jobs more quickly than they would accept ours. I don't know if it's pay, I don't know if it's commute, I don't know the why, which I would like to know, but what can we offer that's outside of the box that might sweeten the deal, as we are desperately in need of people, as everybody is for our highway department.
Yeah.
The one thing that popped to mind was housing. Now, I don't know what we can do about housing, except we do have the ability for one of the police officers to stay once in a while up in the bunkhouse, is that correct?
He does some overnight.
He does some overnight.
Just about one night a week.
Right, but he is not living there.
I know that, but can we make a similar kind of, again, this is right off the top of my head, I'm not suggesting that, but what could we offer that's different,
Right.
that will get us a good, like, we're looking for young guys or gals who are going to be working hard and long hours and here in town, and is there a way that we can help them be in town and want to be in town more than taking jobs somewhere else? I don't know what those incentives are, but I think it's worth brainstorming something more than just money and benefits, because I'm obviously not doing it. And that's the only thing I wanted to bring up, is we need to think about it, because that's a huge gaposis in our staffing.
Yep.
We're gonna have to, because I got my first blast today from somebody who's very unhappy with the road. I'm not gonna go into names, but it wasn't a quiet discussion. So, one of the things I've been thinking about is maybe seeing if we can't parcel some of our work off onto private contractors.
We have to.
It might be a way to do a stopgap, or even change the way we handle this.
But if we can even find private contractors, they seem to be kind of hard to come by too, but yeah,
We haven't looked at it yet.
yeah.
So, a thought would be, think about it, and for our next meeting, we'll put on the agenda for discussion, and it'll be back, we can look at the highway department budget, because the salaries we've saved, we should have extra money in there.
Right.
Perhaps to do exactly what you were suggesting, which is hire contractors. Do some of this.
Well, I was thinking of that too with mowing, and then Bowden came back, so that was good, he's been mowing.
For now.
For now, but again, do we need to hire a landscaper to take care of the mowing and have John do, the more important road work or whatever?
I would certainly think that his skills are better used elsewhere than mowing.
Especially in the 90-degree heat at the cemetery, because I was worried.
So we actually moved the mowing out of the cemetery side of things 10 years ago when I first started up again, because what was happening was the cemetery folks don't have access to the highway department, so we weren't repairing stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody was being responsible for it, so and the town, of course, is mowing its own land, so we just shifted the whole thing into the highway department, that's when it happened.
Yeah.
It makes sense, but somebody should probably be doing it other than John.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of the, I'm sorry, continue.
I was just gonna say, as I said earlier, that John's skills are best used elsewhere.
Yeah.
You know, he's got skills, certainly volunteer weekend.
Yeah.
Just about anybody, so.
The water tank up at the cemetery is great.
Good.
I have used it vigorously. I think I've
Good.
drained it halfway.
Good.
You're the one that's draining it?
It's me, because I'm watering everything down front. If we could get one up back, man, that would be great.
So my suggestion when it went there was to put it up back and run a line down the hill, gravity feed it.
Either, but, well, then you've gotta, anyway, if we had two, that would be fine, because I'm using the one down below. And the one up top, if we had one, I would use that too.
So Concord's cemeteries have lines that run all over the place in them, and I don't know if we need to do that, but maybe the line running down the center of the thing would help to put the load where it belongs, up on the hill somewhere. Just a thought. You're welcome to do whatever you want.
I
know
do.
that.
I do like the one on the bottom, just because personally.
You need to talk to Jan and tell her she needs to get another one.
Okay.
Or talk to David at the dump, he's got several.
Yeah.
That's your source right there.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm loving it.
Good. All right, anything further?
No, not for me.
Okay. Nope. Okay.
Other than when we're gonna set the,
Correct. So what I'm thinking is, Cal, we can communicate through you when Ken gets back to
Yes,
set that public hearing
yes. Do you have
for work session that will be
work
public
session?
all I know is that I am gone from the 15th to the 25th
of July,
of June.
of June. Okay.
So,
I will not be at the next select board meeting again unless you need me to
Right.
zoom in which case I will.
we need 24 hours to post
Yep.
notice, so if Ken is back on Monday, then the earliest we could have it is on Tuesday, the 11th. And I don't have my calendar in front of me, so I don't remember what's happening next week.
Ken, for you, how would the 11th be of June?
I have to look at maps anymore to know where I am.
That there is gonna be a planning board meeting,
Okay, so that
so
would, because we need
this
to have,
would
it
be,
it has to be an evening when the meeting
This
house is available.
so let me get up that calendar.
So the 11th is a week from tomorrow night, right?
That's correct, and that would be planning board.
Planning.
Yeah, so we can't do it then.
The ZBA is meeting on Wednesday here,
Okay.
and it looks like
This Wednesday or Wednesday, the 12th.
Wednesday the 12th, and then Thursday the 13th is the Conservation Commission,
Okay,
so Friday the 14th would be the first evening.
And Friday I'm flying out.
okay.
Oh, you leave on Friday, okay.
I do, I leave Friday the
So-
14th. I thought it was the 15th, but I lied. It's Friday the 14th until the 20.
So it looks like we couldn't do this before Beth leaves.
Okay.
You are coming back on the 25th,
Yes,
so the 26th is a Wednesday and the ZBA is gonna be in here, but Thursday, the 27th, nobody has this booked. So I can send out an email with that, so that way you guys can all go
Yeah,
back.
look at our
your calendars.
yes, please.
And that way, by then too, Ken will be back,
He'll be
so
back.
he'll be able to say the 27th works for him.
Okay.
So let me just write it down while I'm thinking about it. This is for Wyven Road working session. So starts June 27th. Still working session. Okay. So then the only things that we didn't get to were the municipal records committee and the action item updates. It's 7:00, do you have time or the desire to up to 7:30, or would you rather end now?
My questions on the action items were nothing critical, except for just a housekeeping issue. When do you wanna start booting things off the action, because it's getting really long from things that are on there from all the way back in. At what point do you wanna take things off?
For that's up to you guys, cause this is meant to,
I mean, it's a nice one list to look back. And I suppose I could just print out just look at the whole thing, I don't have to print it.
Are you filtering on completed items?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, on non-completed items.
Well, no, I just showed everything because I like to see what's been completed, because that's kind of helpful too.
Okay.
But I could do it the other way and then make it shorter. Uncompleted is probably better.
That's something's been following up with us. When I'm printing it out, is to only filter out uncompleted. But I could also maybe,
No, but I can choose that when I open the Excel spreadsheet, how I wanna see it, right? So
okay,
just keep doing what you're doing and I'll filter it however I wanna look at it. That's fine by me.
okay,
Okay.
that works for you guys.
We have the option, if you have Excel on your.
I'm pretty well caught up.
There you go. So I read something today that really resonated with me, and it was saying that long meetings make for bad decisions.
Oh,
I move we adjourn.
And I will say. All in favor?
I.
Aye.